This podcast is not for kids or anyone who doesn't want to hear any swears. It's a podcast where 4 friends get together and talk about cool science things and try to get each other to say, "Holy fucking science!" I'm Ceri, not Hank. Hank's not here today, so we're going to party without him.
He's down under.
Yeah, he's in...
Is he? Is that where he is?
I think so. In Australia. None of us got to go to Australia, but
No.
we're making fun stuff here. And with me, I have Sam.
Me first. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? I'm supposed to be asking that because I'm the host-ish.
Yeah,
but
I guess so.
Hostish.
Yeah.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
I'm doing good.
Good. And we have Tuna.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
You're going to get that every time.
Still
Should we-
good.
should we say that?
Okay.
Tuna,
Yeah,
have you
say-
been on HFS
No, this is my
before?
first time. I've been behind the
introduce
camera a
yourself.
bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know the routine and
Yeah.
everything.
Kinda. I totally forgot it once I got on this side of the camera, so I'm...
Okay.
Should we say what Tuna
Manic.
does?
Yeah,
Oh,
introduce
Oh.
yourself.
I mostly do SciShow Psych, and I also edit for Holy Fucking Science.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
You will have to edit yourself, maybe.
maybe.
Ooh,
We'll
that's
see.
gonna be a new one
One
for
of the
you?
two of us
Oh,
will
yeah.
have to edit ourselves, I think.
Oh,
I edit
yeah.
a lot too.
All right.
I'm just gonna have a close up on me the whole time if I edit it.
Every time he talks, just like zoom into your face.
No, the whole time.
It's always
Oh,
zoom
It'll
in.
just be me reacting to everyone else talking.
Like,
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Mm.
That's how you should edit it. So you're never showing the person that talks. Just show
Right,
everyone
yeah.
else's
It's
reaction.
just-
Yeah.
And we also have Jessi.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Also good. And you've been on before.
I've been
right?
on a couple times, yeah.
Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I've been on with Sam before, but I haven't
Yeah.
been on with you.
Yeah.
And I've been on with you
first.
before.
We've been
And you
on.
before.
Whoa.
So-
And you've been Squeaks before
Oh,
on
yeah.
SciShow Kids, so it's
Yes.
like a weird web.
Yeah.
That's all I got, guys.
You were the
Not a
sleepy
food web.
Squeaks.
Oh, yeah. It was
If
a
you
very
see a
sleepy
kids episode
Squeaks.
where Squeaks is taking a big
I
lean,
like the way he did Squeaks, though. He was backwards
I did
and
too.
yeah.
he complained
Yeah,
less than
puppeteering
everybody
is-
else who does Squeaks.
It's
so.
a lot. Puppeteering is more challenging than you think.
Everybody acts like I invented the concept of puppeteering whenever they do it, and they're like, "It's so hard
They're
to hold your
mad
arm
at
up."
you. So
Carol
here's a
Spinney had to
question.
hold his arm up for his whole he's for like 70
Yeah.
years he's been holding his arm up. So
Well, it's also kind of the angle, because, like, that table's kind of low,
Well,
but if you could, like...
I'm
Put
working
your
with what
hand
I
up
got.
over your shoulder. No, come on, Sam. Like, raise the roof.
Desk
is what I'm
raisers only
saying.
go so high,
Yeah.
and then Jessie would be like up to her armpits and
Yeah,
table.
yeah, I would look like a kid in the table.
Maybe that's okay. Who
Yeah,
knows?
that'd be
There you
good.
go.
So here's a question. How many bacteria do you think are in the inside of Squeaks?
Oh, no. Oh.
They're mostly Heroica bacteria. So is that
There's
not
been,
right?
yeah, but how many things has Heroica touched?
Cool.
All sorts of doorknobs, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Probably like
That-
the entire like skin microbiomes of the SciShow team
Yeah.
are up in there.
Definitely.
yeah.
I mean, I know she's done it when she's been sick.
Oh no.
Yep,
And
yep,
Nice.
So
Well,
yep.
I don't
good.
know how many microbe or how many bacteria are on anything.
I don't know how many are
That's-
on, tons on us,
Yeah.
in us. There's like 500 to 1,000 strands,
Okay.
but it's not in, I mean, like, I'm sure that we pick up, ugh.
all over us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, Squeaks is made of foam on
They
the
can
inside,
probably eat that foam,
which,
though, you
like,
think?
yeah, well, maybe,
Yeah.
but
Probably
like,
be
it probably
moist.
holds them really well too. Is the
Ooh.
thing?
I'm going to say ugh, a lot during
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah. So, is because we're not just talking about bacteria for fun, but that's what we're going to do this whole podcast because it's about bacteria.
Yay, bacteria.
I'm really excited because I studied bacteria in college for a while.
Oh.
Nice.
But
really?
yeah, I was a biology major, and so I did a bunch of pipetting bacteria and centrifuging them and looking at bird poop
Yeah.
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So we usually
I don't like
choose the
that.
order based on a question, but I'm not sure what that should be. I guess.
Showered most recently.
Ooh.
Or
Maybe like
like
that. Yeah. So the person who showered
has gone the longest without
Who has
showering.
the
least
most
recently
bacteria.
goes first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet I know who it's gonna be.
When did everyone shower?
you? That's my
Least
guess.
recently?
Yeah.
Look how good my shiny my hair looks.
You're right.
I showered this morning
Ooh.
at 8:20.
Pretty much exactly when I showered too. Probably like 8:07. That's
Am I-
my guess.
Okay. Am I going to lose this? I showered last night at probably like 6 p.m.
Gross.
Maybe.
Okay.
I think so. Because, yeah, I was this morning at, I think, 8:05.
You guys are all morning showers.
Yeah.
I had to. I had to. I mean, you should have talked to me yesterday.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-boggling that the dirtiest person here showered last night.
Look, no one has to. We can all smell each other and be fine.
Hey, yeah.
I can't do night showers. I feel really weird the next day.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
can't do
love
night
night
showers either.
showers.
Oh, yeah, night showers are awesome.
I like to take a night shower and then take a morning shower too, but I can't go my whole next day sleeping and then waking up without showering.
I feel so
I have to do
clean
morning.
going to sleep, and then I
Yeah.
wake up ready to go.
I'm just way
Yeah.
too tired. I just like pass out.
Yeah.
Like this is the final, and I'm out. Like I can't
I
plan.
think I just sweat a lot probably when I sleep. I just wake
Yep.
up like
Yeah.
coated in some kind of film.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah. Especially with like how warm it's been. Like, or at least it hasn't been like crazy warm, but because of all the smoke, I've been keeping my house closed, and it just
Yeah.
gets humid and like hot, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Thick.
ugh, yeah.
I was trying to
Yes.
figure out how to segue into my topic, but we didn't
Just
say
do it.
anything that
Just
did
do
it. Thick bacteria. Oh, this is weird. I have to host and go first. There is a bacteria that some estimates say is in around 40% to 65% of known insect species. It's a genus of bacteria, so there's a lot of different species of it. And it's called Wolbachia. And this bacteria is super weird because it's very aggressive and it controls how these insects reproduce, which is kind of weird because it's like it infects them and then affects how they can have babies. And it can affect it in such a way that we are using it to prevent how mosquitoes that carry infectious diseases like Zika or dengue or chikungunya reproduce. And so now it's our way to fight back against mosquitoes is by infecting them with this bacteria.
Whoa.
Which is just
Whoa.
kind of crazy.
Wow. I'll be honest, that one blows my mind a little bit just because I just played, the hell is that game called? Metal Gear Solid 5. And that was a plot point, was like Wolbachia.
Really?
And I was like, oh, this is just some like dumb shit they made up for the video game. This sounds really crazy. And the fact that it's real is like,
Those games are all
What?
real.
yeah, right,
True.
yeah.
It's all true.
But how does it like,
yeah. How does it stop it? Essentially, right?
Yeah, so it stops reproduction, and I think there's 4 different ways, and they're all kind of wacky. So I'll work up to the one that we're using on mosquitoes. The big thing that they do is infect the egg cells or the sperm cells of all the insects.
And how do
so-
they get it?
I'm not sure. I guess a lot of them are passed down reproductively. I don't know how they infect in the first place. I'm guessing it's similar to how bacteria get into humans. So if they feed on something where the bacteria have it, or I don't know if they have any lesions and it gets into their little.
Can insects see bacteria? Because they're so small.
I think they're too small.
Damn. Okay.
They don't have
I'm
very
not
good
sure.
eyesight usually.
That too.
I mean, maybe if they have like a little tiny bug microscope, they could.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
They
be
still
so
need a
cute.
microscope?
Maybe.
Okay.
Or like binoculars at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can build one for them and then they can like look at it. That's a new experiment. So there are some insects that if they have an unfertilized egg, it'll grow up into a male. If they have a fertilized egg, it'll grow up into a female. And so once the parasite infects the eggs, what it lets them do is replicate their chromosomes by themselves, so they don't need a male to be fertilized. And so basically what this does is it generates eggs without needing males, and so all the males in a species die off, and there's no natural reproduction that happens in the species anymore, or it gets like very, very skewed. So there's 94% female, 6% male in a species of butterfly or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But why do they do this?
I think the goal is for the bacteria to reproduce as much as possible. And so since they're in the infected eggs, they're like in all the infected babies, and they keep going from generation to generation to generation.
Okay.
So it's not like the goal of the bacteria isn't to kill off the insects, but it's just to like spread as much as possible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then like the messing with the eggs is sort of like a byproduct of that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so it's a way to do that. And if they can guarantee that there are bacteria in as many eggs as possible, then they're in as much of the next generation as possible and just keep spreading and spreading. So they're very sneaky.
Yeah.
Imagine if that happened to humans.
There'd be no man left.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Sometimes in species, they allow males to be born. So they are infected eggs, and if the bacteria gets in. But what they do is they mess with something in the male egg. So I guess they're kind of born. They're formed and fertilized, but they kill off the male eggs at some stage when the larva is growing. So they target some sort of essential gene inside. And so those eggs die. And when the female babies hatch, they can eat the male eggs and presumably get infected with any bacteria if they weren't infected in the first place. Or it just kills off half the population. So the females of the species have more food available for them, which is very creepy.
Yeah.
But is this a sustainable plan on the part of the bacteria, or do they mess up the population? Well, I guess you'll tell us.
Yeah, kind of. I think mostly they mess up the population, but since there are so many insects that it never messes up a population enough to wipe them out completely.
Okay.
Do bacteria actually think about like the future, though?
That too.
Well, but I mean,
is this sustainable?
They'd have to have a good plan to be around still, right?
No, it's more like we're surviving now. And look, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing better. Oops.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like we as humans don't even have a good plan for continued survival. I can't expect the bacteria.
Well, no, but I mean, like, biologically, we're still around.
Yeah.
So something is working on some level.
We've been around for so short amount of time, though.
Yeah, well, but
But
our
bacteria,
brain
they'll just
works good.
mutate and then, like, they'll go, whoops, but then they'll mutate and do something else.
Yeah.
Or another bacteria will take over. They'll just go extinct and something else will take over.
Well, they should think about this a little bit
They
more.
should.
Yeah.
They should.
Should write a letter to the Bacteria High Council.
Proposal on my desk in the morning.
Okay, this is a little bit complicated. It took me a little while to wrap my head around, but I think I know how to explain it. With something like a mosquito, if two infected mosquitoes mate, they can have babies, and all those babies are infected. If an infected female mates with a healthy male, all of her babies, because she's producing the eggs, will be infected. So both of those are great cases for the bacteria because they get passed on to all the offspring. Mm-hmm. If there's an infected male and a healthy female, his sperm become little killer things. So the bacteria that end up, I think, in the sperm kill off all the female's eggs, so there just isn't a next generation.
Whoa!
And it's,
wait. So the killer sperm don't kill the bacteria and then fertilize the egg, and it's all happy. They just kill it all.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So the bacteria does something to the sperm, and we're not exactly sure what the mechanism is, but we think it has to do with cell division. So when the sperm try to fertilize the egg, something bad happens, and then like all the eggs just like don't work anymore.
Whoa.
And that is what we're doing intentionally with mosquitoes,
Right.
and where scientists are infecting a bunch of males. They're like just making a bunch of dudes, infecting them all, and then releasing them all into the wild.
Release the killer
mass.
Sperm.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And then
That's
doing
probably
it.
the title of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good title
Yeah.
episode.
But they have to do it over and over again
have to
because
do
the
it-
system does not want males to survive, right?
Yeah, because then it like ends up like they all die. There are no babies, and
Right.
you're just trying to stifle the population, like normal reproduction
Another
as much
bad
as possible.
part of their plan.
It's good because it can't infect humans. Wolbachia doesn't infect humans, so like this would never happen in us unless something mutated horribly wrong, and so it happened to us.
Okay. So it could never happen.
Yeah, I guess not. You can't rule out anything in nature.
Yeah.
And I think as part of it, we're starting to learn that certain species of Wolbachia start fighting off the viruses within mosquitoes too. So like not only are we just trying to wipe out the type of mosquitoes that carry diseases, but when like a female that has the malaria parasite and Wolbachia inside them, then there's sort of like microorganism battling going on inside them, and Wolbachia usually wins.
Okay.
So it can also fight off other parasites and viruses, even if it doesn't like wipe out mosquitoes through population, it wipes out the infectious part of them.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Is it working pretty good?
I don't know. There was a 12-week trial in April 2017 in Florida.
Brand new.
Very new.
Okay.
And so I think it's promising enough in labs that we're trying it in the field. I don't know if it's actually working. I haven't heard of a Zika outbreak in Florida, so
So it's not bad.
it's not bad.
It might
Yeah.
not be working, but it's not making it worse.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How much time and money have we spent as a species trying to kill mosquitoes? I feel like this is like the latest step
I don't know.
in a long escalating war.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, what? We had our hands, and then we had
Start the timeline
Yeah.
at hand. Yeah.
we had like a piece of paper or something we rolled up, or a shoe or something, right?
Yeah.
And then, or maybe a stick.
Mhm.
And then we had fly swatters.
Mhm.
And then we had like the shooty gun fly swatters.
Well, I think for
Like a
don't we
the
have like the
first.
sticky tape that you hang from the ceiling.
That's
Or I
for
guess
flies.
that doesn't really.
Flies.
Yeah, that's for flies.
Do the citronella candles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if mosquitoes go towards light, so there wouldn't be the shocky thingy.
Mm-hmm. Chemicals.
DDT.
Yeah.
DDT, yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the rest? What's the
DEET.
wrestler?
The wrestler.
Is that DDT?
The Rock?
Not
Or
Diamond
like-
Dallas Page.
DDP? Okay.
Oh.
He's probably killed some mosquitoes too.
I'm sure he
Yeah.
has.
Probably like every evolutionary thing that we came from has killed a lot of mosquitoes. So like even before we were humans, the whole everything
Was there
on
mosquitoes
Earth,
before? Like, I don't know the evolution of mosquitoes. Have they just
they probably
plagued
they're probably eating dinosaurs.
primates
Probably.
forever?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
That was like
Yeah.
Jurassic Park,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They found the,
Oh, yeah,
the thing in.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know if that's
There's
scientific, though.
I don't think it is. I think DNA would degrade over that much
Yeah.
time, unfortunately. So that was my thing.
Cool.
Tuna, did
Thanks.
you shower next?
Is that
What time did you shower?
8:05?
Sam was 806.
Yeah.
8:07.
807.
7.
Okay, so I guess I am next.
Oh yeah, it's you.
Oh.
That's how
Oh,
time.
yeah,
that's
'cause
how
we're
time
going-
works.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, I got confused with time too. I'm glad.
It's hard. Sam just experiences all time as a single moment.
I'm
Oh,
always
so-
in the shower.
Yeah.
And I'm always not in the shower too.
With the door closed, you won't even know.
Ah,
Shower
yeah.
out at Schrodinger's Sam.
Schrodinger's shower boy. That's me.
Shower boy.
If it's running, I could be pooping or I could be showering. You know?
Well, yeah, throws in another variable.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't go with poop. I'm glad we went with shower.
Or it could be
instead.
combined. Ew.
Oh no.
No. Oh, no.
I mean, it could be.
It could be. It could
Yeah,
be. It's
but-
like peeing in the shower. I feel like it's much more benign than pooping.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
You'd have to have some kind of special stick to like push it down.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Every time. I feel like that's finally made this an HFS episode. As we
Talking
got
about
around to
poop?
talking about poop. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Are you talking about
So-
poop?
No, not even close.
Okay.
But
Oh,
it
I'm
would have been
talking about
really
poop.
cool if I was.
Yeah.
It would have been really thematic. No, I'm talking about acid mine drainage.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was trying to wrap my head around it for like the past couple of days because a lot of how I know about this is my like grade school science fair projects. And a lot has happened in the past like 15 years. And I really don't understand it as well as I thought I did.
Me and
but-
Tuna are both from a town totally riddled with toxic mining sites.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure both of us
Really?
did and
Same
saw
town?
Butte.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Butte.
Butte.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
have,
both
like,
of us saw a lot of science fair projects about toxic mine stuff and did a lot of reports on like how the environment's screwed up in Butte.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it turns out that this, like, I didn't realize it until I looked it up, but abandoned mines are like a huge environmental problem all across the world. Like a lot of the case studies I saw that like people were doing with some of the stuff I'm going to talk about, like there's a big one, Wheel Jane in the UK, which I guess is like a big open pit mine that's been running for like a couple of 100 years.
It's still operational?
I don't know if it's still operational. There's activity there. I don't know if they're mining, but they are trying to do remediation.
Okay.
But yeah, like just in EPA Region 8, which is Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, and South Dakota, there's 51,000-ish mines
Is that a
that have
lot?
been abandoned. I feel like 51,000 mines
It
is
seems
a
like
whole
a lot.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot.
Seems
I
like
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
I mean,
anything
it's-
about
it's-
mines.
I would have guessed that there's like, like a few hundred of them.
Yeah, 51,000 mines.
Yeah. Just a lot of mining. I guess we need to dig up stuff to
Dig up shit
kill
to make
mosquitoes.
shit.
Like
Yeah.
build our stuff to kill mosquitoes.
That's
yeah.
what the acid is for. Just like scattered on the mosquitoes, kill them all.
Right. The big thing, like a lot of the mining, you end up with acid mine drainage, which has got a lot of heavy metals and acid, sulfuric acid, because like a lot of the minerals and stuff that you mine for ores is pyrite, which is iron and sulfur, and galena, which is lead and sulfur, and chalcocite is copper and sulfur, and molybdenite is molybdenum and sulfur. And like those are just the ones from Butte.
I didn't know we did molybdenum in Butte.
Not as much, but like it's there. We'll dig it up, I guess. Yeah. So when you do that, like all the sulfur gets oxidized, and then most of this stuff takes place below the water table. So as soon as you stop mining and pumping stuff out, you end up with water in there, and then that chemical reaction takes place and creates sulfuric acid, which it turns out is partially caused by bacteria. And this was like one of the science experiments I did as a kid. I just took like a chunk of pyrite and put it in water and used little, what are they called? Litmus strips to test the pH.
Yeah.
And if you boil the water before you put in there, it takes days, or I think it might have even been weeks to get down to. Like the pH sits around 3, I think is usual for acid mine drainage. And so if you boil it first, like, yeah, it takes a couple of weeks. But if you don't sterilize it first, it only takes a couple of hours because there's a bacteria called Acidithiobacillus ferrooxidans as part of its life cycle, or like part of like, not respiration, whatever you'd...
Metabolism?
Something. Yeah. I think that, man.
Like cellular respiration.
Right. Yeah. I'm totally spacing on the right science word for it.
Energy making.
Yeah.
It makes energy.
Right. Instead of
doing
using carbon,
Yeah.
they act as a biological catalyst for this reaction to happen. So you have just tons of mine waste that's super toxic, filled with all these heavy metals, partially because of these bacteria. And the way they clean that up is usually like you toss lime in it, or like limestone, or like that sort of thing. And that not reverses the reaction, but it like grabs the heavy metals and puts the hydroxides in there and brings the pH back up. And then you end up with like this sludge. And like that's usually how you clean a mine.
Just make some sludge.
Right. You make a lot of, like you take all the
pull
toxic
out the
stuff
sludge?
out of the water. Well, yeah, then you can take the water off and it's relatively clean compared to how it was. Like
they like
yeah.
pond vac it out.
Well, they usually, a lot of times they'll have like big tanks that they do this in. So I don't really know. Like maybe they have like a little siphon or something, or just like just a dude with a straw, like. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work in a warehouse that used to be a mine water treatment plant.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't working there when it was a mine water treatment plant, but there were just like big tanks everywhere and like channels dug into the ground with like grates over them and like big mixing, like agitator kind of things everywhere. So I don't know what they were doing in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet they were, because a lot of like, I think lime is the most common one because it's like fairly easy. Like you stir it up like that. There's like stuff where like if you're using limestone, it actually develops a shell and you scrape the limestone off so it can keep doing its thing and keep cleaning the water.
This is so far out of any world I've lived in. I mean,
we grew up there. So.
Yeah, we were drinking that water. So
Are these bacteria everywhere? You just like got tap water and then stuck in?
Yeah.
I don't know that they're
Or-
everywhere. Like they tend to be a lot of, because that's the thing, is they're aerobic and acidophilic. So it's like they need lower pHs to like start with, or like that's how they flourish. So I think it's like something on the ground, but they're not like super common until they get in that situation.
And
then it's like all over the place. Yeah.
what are they called again?
Acidithiobacillus ferrooxidans. And that's just one kind, because I think there's a bunch of different kinds of acidithiobacillus, but ferrooxidans is like the main one because
Ferro like metal or like
ferro like iron.
Iron, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is they like the iron based kind
Which
of
is why
stuff as
pyrite.
opposed to like
Weird.
yeah.
Things
It's
can eat
super-
anything.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's
cool.
So the problem with lime is that it's like it costs a lot to like do this. And then it's low efficiency because that sludge you get back, I think you can pull some of the metals out of there. So you could be like, oh, like I'm going to like pull some of that copper out of there. 'cause
That's
it's
what the
valuable.
place I was working at used to do.
Oh,
They were
okay.
Pulling the metal out and
Yeah.
using it and then reselling it.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's
They went out of
like
business. So.
and that's probably why. It's because it's like it's such an expensive thing, and like the return on that is like not very much because I guess it's like hard to pull it back out of that sludge again because the sludge just got done.
I wonder if there's
pulling
bacteria
out
that
of
could
water.
like, if there's bacteria that can make it worse. Like, is there bacteria that could make it better?
That's exactly where I'm going with this. Yeah, points for you. Because there's a lot of studies, and this is stuff that's like more recent, and like they've been doing research on it for a while, but it sounds like they're getting a lot closer to making it commercially viable. But there are like multiple genera of the bacteria that they call sulfate-reducing bacteria. And so you put that in there with some carbon, and they'll actually do that same thing and like sort of produce, I don't know if it's still a sludge, but like they raise that pH back up. Like if you can keep them, the problem with them is like it's hard for them to live in the acidic environment in the first place.
Okay.
But if you can give them, I was reading one study where they used like cattails and like just stuck that in the acid water with
The bacteria
with
in
the
there.
SRBs, yeah. And like that was enough for it to be like, okay, use the carbon from this and then react with the stuff in the water.
Cool.
And then raise the pH back up.
Cool.
And I think even raising the pH starts to like make some of the metals precipitate out just by virtue of them needing to be in an acidic environment to be soluble. And so it all just wraps back around to like, sometimes I get bummed out because like humans are not very good at taking care of the earth. And then I realize, no, like it doesn't matter what kind of conditions, like there's something that's going to be like, that's my jam.
Yeah.
We just got to find the right bacteria now. I like
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Life
fix our problems with
finds a
different
way.
bacteria.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah.
Too polluted. Find like a radiation-resistant bacteria and throw it in
Yeah,
there and
Sam
fix
was mentioning
it.
They'll
that.
take
like,
over the
there's-
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the evolution back up to like our level might take a while, but
Yeah, if we all croak, the bacteria will be fine.
yeah,
Clean up our
they're
mess.
gonna love it.
Yeah.
So we better make friends with the bacteria then.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's why I'm going to tell them that their plan's stupid.
Uh-huh.
So then,
You guys are stupid. Like me for telling you you're stupid.
yeah, I'll be the king of the bacteria
Oh.
because I'll be so big.
Will you
and they
have
can
a
live
crown
inside me.
of bacteria? Will they just like
Absolutely.
assemble together and be
Yeah,
like,
I'll have like a
Bacteria.
big mecha suit of bacteria too.
ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just knock over trees
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. I don't know. There won't be anything but trees. I
You could have
guess.
so many different bacteria, like kinds that do different things. It'd be like,
Yeah.
like you just pull out all your like
Yeah. And
Like a
then-
multi-tool of bacteria. You could be like,
Whoa.
"Shroom," and
Bacto
then,
Man.
like,
What we should be like a superhero. Bacteria woman.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they would
Yeah.
like slowly replace me, and then it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, am I bacteria? Am I man? Who knows?
Whoa.
But I can like shoot my fists off and stuff
Whoa.
because
That's
I'm
your
part of
superhero name,
bacteria.
Manteria.
That's perfect.
I don't like it.
Sounds like man and cafeteria.
All right, yeah, that's less intimidating, but that catches them off guard.
Yeah.
I'm a man, but I also have food. You want some?
but really it's like
the food is,
bacteria-laden food. So you're-
It's bacteria pretending to be food, and then they eat it, and then it dissolves their insides.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, we'll workshop it. You can either be a superhero or villain at this point, I think.
I'll only dissolve bad guys' insides
Okay.
and
one of
people
those.
who've wronged me.
But you'll be made of bacteria, so like maybe like an arm falls off and decides like I'm gonna be a villain.
Whoa.
And, like, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And my moral code would probably be all screwed up after the bacteria replace my brain.
Oh yeah.
You
I
gotta
don't know what I
protect
want.
it.
Yeah.
My brain?
Which
Yeah.
strand is gonna like?
I'll put
gonna be, like-
limestone. What's the good thing around my brain to put? Limestone.
Oh, I was gonna say like a helmet.
They
or
can't
like-
use
Limestone
something.
helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A limestone
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No,
brainlet.
skull.
Skull.
Yeah.
I forget what we used. I had to kill bacteria all the time because we would like
Oh.
grow them up because we'd use them to multiply DNA and like get all the DNA amplified that we wanted. And so we would grow them up and then we'd centrifuge them down and then we'd like pop them all and then steal their DNA.
Whoa. Oh, man. When I become Manteria, you better hope I
would be
forgot
an
that.
enemy.
Yeah.
I haven't wronged you yet, Sam.
You popped my brethren.
Yeah.
Right.
Pop them.
Oh man. Everybody who uses antibacterial soap, you're just gonna be
That's
like,
true.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to destroy the entire
Yeah.
human race,
Hospitals,
basically.
you'll go for them first.
Should we
But
talk about the beer?
oh yeah,
Oh,
I am not
yeah.
drinking the beer, but you and Tuna should talk about how great it is.
Tuna, what kind of beer are you drinking? I spilled it
Well,
on my
Sam,
couch.
I'm drinking a delicious Trout Slayer wheat ale
Uh-huh.
from Big Sky Brewing Company.
What a coincidence. Me too.
Nice. Because they're our sponsor this week.
And every week.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Big Sky Brewing. Well, it's available. Hank always makes the number up, but it's somewhere in the 30s of the number of states you can get it in.
Yeah, it's usually just Moose Drool, but that's good because Moose Drool's good.
Yeah, Moose Drool's really good.
Yeah.
And it has the best name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good name and a good label and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's got a picture of a moose on it.
Yeah.
Drooling.
He's
Yeah.
drooling. Yeah. He's in water though. I always think that he's like drinking the water and it's coming out of his mouth.
That's
I guess
still
it's
drool though,
drool.
right?
Is
When
it?
it comes into your mouth.
Anything that comes out of your mouth
Okay.
Yeah.
I trust Jessi on this. I feel like of us, you were the most
I'm sticking
drool
with it.
expert. Yeah. Sam, are you
I
next?
can't look at my notes because I'm getting a phone call.
Oh.
But I am next. Okay.
Do you remember the topic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty soon we're all going on the staff retreat, and we're going on a staff retreat to a hot springs. And so I looked up different ways that hot springs can kill you.
Oh,
So like different ways that at the end of this trip, the caretakers will come back and we'll all just be puddles of goo.
Even our skeletons?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
Probably not our skeletons.
As long as
Why
my
not our
skeletons.
skeletons?
Just be like
Why not?
skeleton lounging with the goo
With the goo
surrounding
around it. Yeah.
Ew.
Well, but one thing was that
Ew.
if the hot spring should happen to like, if we fell into it, then our bones would disintegrate within like 24 hours.
24
So-
hours?
Yeah, that's what
fast.
it said. That you're in Yellowstone, if you fell in some of their hotter ones, your bones would you'd just be totally gone.
But not the one we're going to.
No, but if we
Yeah.
found the
Okay.
source of it, maybe we would
Yeah.
disintegrate. If we went underground. Well, anyway.
So what kind of bacteria?
So, like, leave the scuba
Anyway,
gear at home. Yeah.
Yeah, Tuna, don't swim up the crack in the mountain and get turned into a skeleton.
You're not my mom.
You can if you
Yeah.
want to.
Sorry, I
that-
interrupted you.
No, I'm wondering what kind of bacteria I have
Yeah.
to be afraid of now.
Mhm.
Like sheathe
All right.
myself in wet ones or something.
So
Purell.
here's the one that seemed like most likely to kill us. It's called Naegleria fowleri. It gets in through your nose and attacks your brain.
Oh
causing
no.
Headache. Well, I mean, yeah, it lives in like all hot springs, basically. It's very rare to get, so it must not live in all of them, but that's where it thrives. It attacks your brain, causing headache, fever, nausea, and vomiting. And then you get a stiff, further into the infection, you get a stiff neck, confusion, lack of attention, seizures, and hallucinations, and you die within 5 days of getting it.
That's awful.
And there were 33 cases between 1998 and 2007, and all of them but one were fatal. So it's very rare to get, but cases of it seem to have been going up lately. In 2007 to 2016, there were 40 cases.
What?
So how many-
What's happening? Are we
Yeah.
using more hot tubs? Or
No,
are
it's
they
all
just-
natural hot. This is all from natural
Oh.
hot springs specifically. This
Huh.
particular
So
one is.
are people in more hot springs?
That
or
could be
they-
it. That makes sense. It didn't
they
really.
just
It didn't really
telling?
speculate on why
Got it.
there were more cases than usual lately. But
So how do you
Bacteria
prevent
grow.
it?
well, you don't put your head underwater when you're
Got
in a
it.
natural
Won't
hot
do that.
spring. You just don't splash or like put any water in your mouth because mostly it gets to your nose.
Okay,
So
Okay.
don't drink any of the water when we're at the hot springs.
check.
Okay.
Are the ones we're going to, like, are they
But
is it natural?
but wait,
hot spring?
but yeah, can you filter it out? Because there's like showers there, and
I
like
don't know.
tap water.
It depends on what their system's like. I'm sure you can probably filter it out, but I don't know what those people are doing up
Okay,
there.
just I'll just bring my own water then.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, you can't drink the water at that one at the place we're going anyway, because it's like hot when it comes out of the tap.
Smells awful.
Yeah.
I went to
So-
go brush my teeth last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Oh, this is such a terrible, terrible
terrible.
idea. It
So
was
we
awful.
usually bring our own anyway.
Yeah.
But just don't,
just don't.
because we don't need to melt
Yep.
our brains.
No.
Okay, then there is streptococcus,
Oh, yeah.
which is the same
Classic.
bacteria as strep throat, but if you get a flesh wound with streptococcus in it, you basically like start to melt and all of your guts shut down and release toxins into your body like your liver and stuff. And then you go into strep toxic shock and you die within 24 hours.
Ugh.
What?
So you get that from sharing cups and inhaling people's sneezes to get strep throat.
Oh, yeah.
But if somebody sneezes into a cut, maybe you don't know. So wear a Band-Aid
Yeah.
when we're on the
Yeah.
retreat.
We're
So
And
you
don't
could,
share
you could
cups.
actually if you had strep and you sneeze into someone's cut, it could be transferred that way, or does it have to be like the germ has to be
I mean, I don't know,
you know
but maybe.
cutaneous and then you have to like rub wounds?
Oh, I don't think you have to rub wounds.
Ugh.
I think you just got to get in there.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Is
Maybe.
is it because it gets in your blood? So like in your
Yeah.
throat, it just can kind of settle into the
Yeah.
mucusy stuff.
But if
there.
it gets
But
onto
Is
your
the
onto
bloodstream
like,
or is it cutaneous? Is it just like your skin or is it in your bloodstream?
I don't know, causes necrotizing fasciitis.
That sounds cutaneous.
So I think it's probably that one.
Skin.
skin.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Ooh.
But what's the fatality rate on that one?
I don't know.
Oh,
Well,
'Cause I feel like-
it's very rare. The FCC website, is that right? Is that the disease one? FDA.
FDA.
Yeah. CDC. That's the one. The CDC
which one was
website.
the one in Outbreak?
Yeah.
said it was super rare to get it
Okay.
in the way that causes your body to shut down. But I think it's pretty highly likely that you'll die if you do. Because you die in 24 hours,
That's
generally.
Yep.
If it
That's
attacks
messed
your
up.
organs, then you die in 24 hours.
Because I have a friend who got that, but like he didn't die.
Strep?
Just strep throat or
No,
fin?
like flesh-eating bacteria.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, because we have like a writers group kind of thing where we send each other stuff we've been writing, and he just missed it one day with no notification.
Whoa.
We were like, I wonder what happened to Bill. And then like a week later, he's like, oh, sorry, I missed it, you guys. I was in the hospital for flesh-eating bacteria. And we were like, what? No. Like, I thought he was making a joke.
And it was streptococcus?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing. I don't remember.
There's a lot of flesh-eating bacteria.
Okay.
They're so rare, though, it seemed like. I was
Yeah.
excited for one to be like the movie Cabin Fever or like that part in Creepshow 2 where all the teens melt. But there isn't anything like that, it seems like. You have to be really in the wrong place at the wrong time to melt.
Well, when you become Bacteria Man or Manteria, or
Manteria.
you can have an arm, like one of your powers can be these flesh-eating
One of my
bacteria.
arms can shoot
and you can just like
flesh-eating bacteria.
dose someone in them, and they probably like melt.
Shoot it right in their
Pretty fast.
cut.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
First, you
Yeah.
have to have cutting ones, and then you like, and then
Cutting bacteria, is
Yeah.
that a thing?
probably there's probably bacteria that can break apart skin.
Well, there's ones that can melt stuff, so I can melt their flesh and
Yeah.
then shoot the flesh-eating virus into
Melting
it.
or
you go.
dissolving.
I don't know.
probably dissolve.
Somebody probably makes acid, right?
It's still dissolving.
Oh, yeah.
Is it
Like
dissolving?
the-
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ones you were talking about.
Right.
I'll use all this knowledge against you.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so then there's Legionnaire's disease because we all share food and it's like tacos that have been sitting out for a long time. So
Just tacos, though. Like,
Oh, no, that's staph infection. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Staph
okay.
infection is the one you get from old tacos. So, if
What
you
about,
wake
like,
up late
chalupa?
and the
And
eggs have
also
been sitting
lots
there
of
for a
other
couple hours.
stuff is
Almost everything.
Yeah.
If it's hot food and it's not hot enough, you're gonna get a staph infection.
All right.
Maybe. I
You'll
mean,
recognize them from the T-shirts with the staff on the back.
So don't eat any food when we're there.
Okay.
It's old.
Okay. So no
Sounded
water.
like not like a
no
very fun
food.
retreat anymore.
no
hot tub.
touching anyone.
No, definitely not. Especially, I remember what I was going to say. If you have a fresh tattoo, it's very dangerous to go into hot springs because that's a good way to get a flesh-eating virus. It'll probably mess up your tattoo also.
Yeah.
That'd be
don't
the
get a
worst
tattoo.
part.
I think Colin had just gotten a tattoo last time we went.
Is that why he stayed out? He just cooked the
No,
whole
he
time?
was swimming like a madman.
Oh.
He just got
no.
lucky, I guess.
Oh.
Nobody
Nice.
told him.
I guess you just got to swim faster than the bacteria.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
They're probably pretty slow, I bet.
Maybe.
Then
small.
there's
Like there
Legionnaire's
was that guy
disease.
in Space Jam who said they could travel at the speed of light, and I don't think he was correct.
Bacteria? Was it Bill
Yeah.
Murray who said that?
No, it was one of the basketball players.
Oh,
Yeah.
one of the Monstars?
No.
Oh,
It
the
was a
human
different
basketball
basketball player.
player.
Yeah, and he was afraid that he was going to catch whatever somebody else got.
Okay, it could have been Charles Barkley, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Well, anyway, then there's Legionnaire's disease. And that one you get through misty air. So spas especially are a good place for it to breed. So don't go in the spa either.
What does that do to you?
That one just gives you the flu. You'll be fine if you go in the spa.
That was not bad.
You'll be having a bad
Yeah,
time,
right.
but
If
you're
you're-
not going to die.
If you're older or you have a bad immune system or a weak heart, then you'll probably have a heart attack or something. Because that's what happened to all the Legionnaires who originally got Legionnaire's disease. They were a bunch of old men and they were staying at a hotel with a bad filtration system. And so, or it didn't even have one because it was the 70s, I think. And then after that, so they all got Legionnaire's disease from the air conditioning. And then after that, there were a bunch of like laws and stuff about air conditioning filtration systems.
Wow.
The air conditioning.
Yeah. So don't use air
So not in the
conditioning.
spa,
either.
just
So
the
no
air
air
any
conditioning
kind of
either.
like aerosolized, like compressed air, like yeah.
Ooh.
They're just really good at flying around.
They live in your spit. So then if the spit like gets sucked into filtration systems that aren't made correctly, they live in there.
Nice.
So that one's
Alright.
fine though. You can get that one all day long.
Yeah, okay.
We're
Yeah.
young and healthy.
I get that one for fun on the weekends.
Yeah. So basically, it'd be really hard for us to dissolve into goo. But if we're in the wrong place at the wrong time and we all have cuts on our legs
I mean,
Not
and
impossible.
we sneeze into each other a lot.
I feel like you have to approach Hank and get him to buy some of those like like the giant hamster balls that Wayne Coyne uses at Flaming Lips concerts.
Oh, that would be fun. And we swim in those.
Just like one for each of us.
Yeah.
And like we can spend the
just
whole
float on
weekend in
top of the
there,
pool.
sealed off from all bacteria.
Not eating food.
Yeah,
Not
eating food.
We have our own food in
Right.
the.
Well, I mean, that could be
If we
dangerous
bring,
too.
that's true.
It could also have a
hypoallergenic
staph
snack.
infection.
Yeah,
like,
because
it could
it's
be
not, it's
crackers.
not well heated. Yeah.
Yeah, crackers would
Yeah.
be fine. Some kind of like astronaut ice cream would probably be okay.
Okay.
But
Sarah. Cheeses?
nothing
How are
wet.
cheeses?
Nothing wet and warm.
No,
Oh,
nothing
no.
moist.
Oh,
Ugh.
Jesus. That was another thing I was looking up for this too.
That was cheeses?
Yeah, they found cheese on
Yeah.
a mummy. And I was
Ew.
excited because I
Nice.
thought it was like natural cheese that came out of the mummy. Like
Ew.
came out of the mummy.
I think that's how you
Mommy
make
had
cheese.
milk or
Well,
something.
maybe he drank a big glass of milk before he died or something.
Maybe.
But they just crumbled
Oh.
cheese on their mummies in this part of ancient China for some reason, and they
Weird.
didn't know why.
Well, you gotta add some flavor before you eat them, dude. You can't just eat plain mummy.
They forgot that one.
All right.
They
Yeah.
buried
It's
him.
going
and they forgot to do
downhill,
it.
guys. I'm getting major shivers over here. So I have mild germophobia, which is weird because I work with animals and I have children and I see lots and lots of people all the time. And so this was going well until you started talking about mummy cheese and sneezing into people's wounds, and it was all fine and good.
Are you gonna swim at the
Sam.
retreat? Did you last time?
I did.
Okay.
I don't know if I will again.
You shouldn't probably get in that big hot tub, the really hot one, because that's like the right temperature for all these things to live.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You have an action plan for the retreat.
There we go. I'm just going to bring lots and lots of hand sanitizer and get on your bad side, man. Whatever you're
Sam's
doing.
gonna be there with like a bucket dumping bacteria in there.
Or collecting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saving it for later.
Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, so bringing it back to something like more palatable, maybe. We recently got a baby beaver at Animal Wonders.
Oh yeah,
And
Justin.
nope. And
Huckleberry.
it got married.
right?
Well, his name's being revealed tomorrow.
Oh shit. Oh well.
But
cut
this
that
will
out.
This'll
go.
be This'll be
yeah,
October.
So all you live streamers, nice going.
Sorry.
So he's just starting to eat wood, and I'm like, what animals eat wood? Like, how do they break that down? And so I wanted to figure
Beavers
out. what's
actually
going on.
eat
So
the wood?
They actually eat wood. So they eat root. They eat
Whoa.
lots of plant material. Lots of animals eat plants, so that's no big issue. But they actually eat the wood, and they actually get the nutrients from the wood. And so I was trying to find studies on, what kind of bacteria do you have to have in your gut to be able to get nutrients out of wood. And when you're talking about that, it's called lignocellulose. So it's like that's like the really hard structures around the cell that they have to be able to basically ferment and digest. So they did a study, and of course they killed some beavers, and then they dug around in their guts, and they got some poo out, and they got some poo from the bottom part of their digestive system, but also their cecum. And the cecum is where you ferment stuff. And they were comparing the bacteria, and I was kind of underwhelmed with what they found because I was expecting this like awesome like amount of bacteria, and like horses have like 100,000 strains of bacteria, and I'm like, well, that's a lot. They have a pretty intense digestive system, but and humans have like 500 to 1,000, and beavers are like 1,500. That's not like.
Okay.
It's more than humans, but less than horses. But they ferment it in their cecum, and they need to do more studies because they only did it on 4 beavers. So, like, why? It's an animal that we know that eats wood, and we haven't studied it more. So,
Do other animals eat wood?
not very many other animals eat wood, but they did find one bacteria in there that was similar to ones that kangaroo and orangutans have. So, I know orangutans eat a lot of like fibrous stuff, and so do kangaroos too. But like maybe that's the bacteria. They haven't done enough research on it.
Do pandas technically eat wood?
Bamboo, is that considered wood?
I
It's
don't
a
know.
plant.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't for some reason though.
What is
Seems like-
what is the definition of wood?
I don't know. I think bamboo is a grass though. Maybe. I feel
Is
like
it?
I've
Corn
read
is a
that
grass.
before.
What's the difference between a tree
But I think
and
bamboo might be. I don't
I mean,
know.
I've
what
eaten bamboo
is
before.
wood?
Yeah.
That's true.
Like a lot.
Put it in
Yeah.
a stir fry.
Yeah.
I think it's a grass maybe.
Yeah.
Must be, yeah.
So wood is the hard fibrous material that forms the main substance of the trunk or branches of a tree or shrub.
Okay. I'm guessing it has to do with the cellulose stuff that
Yeah.
had, and bamboo might not have that.
Lignocellulose.
I don't know.
Or maybe
don't
it's,
know.
I guess I always eat bamboo like when I eat it. It's like pickled or something, right? Like it's
Woody
always
grass.
I think it's just like the
Woody
soap
grass?
inside
Defined as
of the
woody
thing.
grass.
I think
So not quite wood, or it's wood-like.
it said woody grass. Yeah, great. Okay,
great.
That
Wonderfully
helps. That helps a
descriptive.
lot.
Yeah.
But I bet, I mean, they should do some panda poo studies.
yeah.
That might be
Ain't very
interesting.
many of them to cut open though. You can't just be
I
cutting them
mean,
open.
Yeah, I know, but the ones that die.
Okay.
So is that like only in the beavers, like the lower end of the digestive
Yeah,
system?
yeah.
Okay. So if we got like a fecal transplant from a beaver, could we eat wood?
Yeah, we don't have a big enough cecum
You're
to
a
do that. Our
genius.
cecum sucks. It's
Oh,
stupid
oh.
and not and
Okay.
it doesn't like really do much at all. And like our appendix and stuff like
Is
that.
that a
It's
part of
just
your
like-
body? The cecum?
The cecum is like an offshoot to the intestines that like, I don't know, the diagrams that I have in my mind. It's like, here's your intestines, that roundish with all the squigglies. And then the rabbit has like this woo. And so rabbits like have this really long cecum. The woo was a spiral. I see this as a
Audio.
podcast.
Oh, right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. It's like the woo is a spiral. So cecums are there for animals that eat, that need to digest. It's like a fermentation station. It's like you stick some of it in there and it like gets all the really good stuff. And then rabbits will then poop stuff out from their cecum, so called cecotrophs, and then they'll eat that because it has actual vitamins that in it that are now accessible. So beavers also are coprophagious, which means eating your own poo. So they'll also do that. And so with our baby beaver, we didn't have the mom, and so we didn't have beaver poo to
You let
feed
him
him.
eat your poop?
Did not let him eat my poo. But we had to give him lots of probiotics to try and get that going.
Oh, okay.
So he's doing good now. But yeah, so then it got me thinking, I'm like, okay, well, we had to give him antibiotics because he had a respiratory infection and it killed off all the bacteria in his stomach. Then he got diarrhea. I'm like, oh, that happens in humans a lot too. And so do you guys know what happens when you take like a really intense antibiotic and it kills all the bacteria in your gut? Do you know the bad thing that can happen?
I know that I've heard this before. but-
Have you heard of C. diff?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And I can't remember the full name of it. C. diff,
Clostridium. something?
difficile or something like Clostridium. Yeah, good job.
Wow.
Difficile.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah. So it's a naturally occurring bacteria in your gut. And when you have something, so my son got C. diff, he had brain surgery and they had to give, after the surgery, you give like really intense antibiotics to make sure you want infection in your brain. And so it killed off all the bacteria in his gut and then he had diarrhea, and C. diff is awful. It gives you like fever and abdominal pains and you can die from it because it's like really bad diarrhea. And so to stop that from happening, so what happens is all the other good bacteria die, and then C. diff is like, hey, there's extra space in here, and it like basically does a little party in there, and it like just explodes, and it's really inflammatory, and the inflammation just causes you to have diarrhea. So then the way to deal with that is to give more antibiotics to kill the C. diff. And it's a specific, it's like Flagyl. It's like a specific kind of antibacterial medicine that kills just the C. diff and kills that off while you give probiotics, but mostly just stop the other antibiotics until your body can equate itself, rebalance itself. But if that doesn't work, then there's a couple treatments. There's a couple antibiotics that you can try, and you can also try, a certain strain of like yeast probiotics, saccharomycin. But you can also then, if none of that works, you can have a fecal transplant from not a beaver, from a human.
Whoa.
Wait,
So
what?
did you ever, like a couple years ago, there was like a thing that everyone was like, you can make money by pooping. Did you just like selling your poo?
I've not heard that, but I wish I had because
Well, you can.
If you poop when you're at
I've got
work, you
student
can make
loans,
money
so
while you're
yeah.
pooping.
that's true.
You gotta poop in a bag and send it to this factory, and they're making. But you can't just be like any poo. It has to be. You have to
The
like.
cream of the crop.
Yeah,
healthy.
it has to be
Yeah.
the best poo. And so you have to it has to be tested, and you have to make sure you have good poo to get money from it. And the better your poo, the more money you get. But yeah, so then you would get a fecal transplant to try and put normal human gut bacteria back in to your gut to try and repopulate it. And yeah, we never got to that point, but
Man, I don't think I could take, like, if I sent my poop off and I got the rejection letter back, it's like, oh, even your
Poop
poop's
is
not
not
good enough,
good
dude.
enough.
And I'm like,
And they send your poop
it's
back
not
to you.
good enough.
you can
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah.
I had a TA in college who was studying the gut microbiome and fecal transplants and stuff like that. And to make sure he got regular samples for his research, he just used his own poop and everything. So I don't know how that worked exactly, but he was one of my ecology TAs, and he was just like, yeah, I poop and I study my own poop for my PhD thesis. That's what I do.
What was he pooping into?
I don't know.
Whoa.
I didn't ask that much.
That seems a lot different than studying. I don't know. It seems.
I don't know. Is it better or worse to study your own poop than someone else's poop?
I feel like, it would
mystery
be
poop.
Better,
I think it's
a little bit better.
Oh,
It depends
no.
on how
think so.
enthusiastic you are.
No,
about
because I
it.
can like disassociate myself with other poo. But my own poo is like, I don't want to.
Yeah, but at least
Right.
you know what you ate.
Do you? Is
But
that
that's
better?
the problem. It's like I need that level of separation.
Maybe you'll
Exactly.
start being better to yourself if you know.
I
that
could.
you have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It's
Some
like
more
I gotta
self-care.
only eat. What's a good thing?
Look at the
to eat? I don't
horrible
even
thing
know.
I did when I ate this mochi. You know.
Oh, gross. That was so specific. It must be true.
I've been eating a lot of mochi lately.
Mochi's
I
good.
love mochi.
Delicious.
It's good.
One of the things I read about was people testing out like probiotics and fecal transplants from athletes into non-athletes to see if it makes you into an athlete.
What did they
'Cause
find?
I don't think they found anything yet.
Okay.
It seemed the articles I read seemed like advertisements almost. It was like, take this probiotic and we'll see if you turn into an athlete. But it was like they have certain bacteria that break down things that other people's bacteria don't break down. So then they have like a certain amount more energy or something. But it doesn't sound like it would work to me.
I think they should put non-athletic people's poo into athletic people.
That would probably be faster results. Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah.
All right. One of the most common bacteria that infect humans from animals, one of them. There's a lot of them, but salmonella is one that happens a lot. And I encounter a lot with reptiles, and all reptiles can just have it in their system, and then they poop it out. And then if you touch it and then get it in your mouth somehow, then you can get salmonella. And so that's a really common one. Like people are like, well, how did my lizard get infected with salmonella? It's just a normal thing that they have. But one of my favorite things to talk about is like turtles. Turtles swim in the water, and they go to the bathroom in that water. And so they're basically swimming around in poo water. And then you pick them up and you play with them, right? And it's just like, yep, just be aware that you're playing with a poo water creature.
Oh, man.
Don't kiss your turtle.
Don't kiss your turtle.
Even though they're cute.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
yeah. Yeah,
I feel like
wash
that's
your
all
hands.
water, right?
Yeah.
All like outside water is just full
Yep,
of
because there's just
poo
there's
and
lots of
pee and
poo.
everything.
Yeah.
Don't kiss a fish.
Yeah.
Don't kiss an otter.
Frog.
Don't
You can kiss a
frog.
beaver
Or a
if you can get
duck.
close enough.
No, you cannot. They're probably so dirty.
They don't have salmonella unless they've been swimming in salmonella water.
They probably got fleas all over them, though. Don't they pee on
Oh,
themselves?
they have
or
really
something?
thick fur. I don't know if fleas would really get
They
in
pee
there.
on themselves, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they
right?
pee in the water. I mean, they peed on me before.
Cool.
That's really the answer Sam was looking for.
Is there
Like,
any-
I want to hear more about that.
Are there any diseases that we can give animals?
Yes.
Well, what?
Are they bacterial?
Yeah, if they're bacterial.
There's a
Don't-
lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah. But one that's in the zoo world, you can give primates if you have like what are those things on your lips? What are those
cold
called?
sore?
Cold sores.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like a
Yeah.
herpes
Herpes.
simplex or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And so those can turn into like a lethal thing for gibbons, I think, and other kinds of apes, lesser apes like that. It's really intense.
Don't kiss an ape either.
Don't-
But that's
Those are lesser
viral. That's
apes.
viral. That's not
Okay.
bacteria though.
Oh, okay.
But you can just by touch, being touched. So
All right.
that's one of the most
Basically,
horrible
don't
ones.
kiss anything in nature.
don't kiss anything.
Except your cat. Can you
Don't
kiss
kiss
a
your
cat?
cat. No toxoplasma.
Oh, it's too late.
That's
That's a
Too
brain.
late for there.
All
For
right.
there. All right, and we'll land on the most terrifying one that I think is the most terrifying is
Oh.
anthrax.
Oh, I hate anthrax. Yeah, it's the worst. Okay, tell us about it.
Anthrax is pretty terrible. And I think the worst part of anthrax is like how it can get into you any which way. It can create lesions on your skin. So, and it can go, you can eat it, it becomes intestinal. You can inhale it, it gets in your lungs, or it can be, intravenous. So, you can actually get in there and then you'll have it blech. I'm being real scientific now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sounds like this needs to be at the
It's-
hot springs when we go down for the
it's
thing.
creeping me out. So it's a bacteria. It's an infection caused by a bacteria called Bacillus anthracis. Anthracis?
Sounds right.
Anthracus?
Well, I
What do
heard-
you know about it?
This is one of the articles that I read, like, the zombie apocalypse is coming because in Siberia, there were a bunch of, I think, reindeer with anthrax in them that had died off because the anthrax killed them. But the thing about anthrax bacteria is that in their life cycles, they like have the form that mutates and reproduces, but then they also have this really hardy spore form, which is why they can survive for so long.
That was
And
the other
so
part.
they form these
70
spores
years in the soil.
in the soil, in dead
Yeah.
reindeer. And then when it
Yeah.
thawed, when the permafrost thawed, then all these anthrax bacteria started awakening and could become infectious again.
Just walking by, you can inhale the spores,
Jeez.
or by touching them, or by
From, like,
eating
70-year-old
something
dead
or others.
reindeer?
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
So they're
Man.
Awful and terrible.
Old Nick better not be
And-
jolly anymore. Jeez. That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
He probably
Yeah.
burns all his dead reindeer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so it's just that is just so creepy to me that these bacteria are so good at surviving. They can
Yes.
survive with nothing, no food, no
for decades and decades
Oxygen.
and decades, and
Yeah.
you won't even know it's there, and then bam.
and it's super infectious and can kill you.
Yeah.
And you can become the next layer
Yeah.
of corpses under snow and ice, ready to awaken.
Don't kiss a dead reindeer.
Yeah.
Don't. But you can be vaccinated against it, so
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so
we
get
should do that.
vaccinated,
So
then
vaccinated-
kiss the dead reindeer.
yes.
Yeah, then you can do it all you want.
Then give that reindeer all the smooches
Then
you want.
smooch that dead boy.
So vaccines.
Vaccines are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like vaccines. I gotta say, I'm a fan of them.
Yeah. I'm gonna go wash my hands after this episode. 'Cause I
Yeah.
feel really.
I'm like afraid for the retreat a little bit. I'm going to
Yeah,
wash
right.
my hands really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yep.
kiss any animals.
No, don't
Oh,
kiss the
man.
goats that hang out up there, or the sheep or whatever they are.
Yeah.
But always be thinking about what bacteria can be beneficial. Like,
Yogurt.
Yeah.
Unless it's mummy yogurt. And
Unless,
then-
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no
ew,
mummy
ew,
yogurt.
ew.
Also, we have merch. Someone funnier than me should do merch. Sam, do you want to do the merch?
Also, before we go, I'd like to mention this handsome Holy Fucking Science sticker. Unedited, says a swear word on it. You can buy it at dftba.com/HFS. I'm being told that that's wrong. You can buy it at dftba.com and you can find it from there.
Also, posters, apparently.
Yeah, there's
we don't have
posters
one.
too.
Which
but
are also very handsome.
very
They're
handsome.
handsome posters. It's a handsome logo.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
don't
like the
bring it to
colors.
school with you, though.
Unless you're a rebel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you're a bad kid.
Yeah.
You'll still have to go home.
Right.
Your teacher will rip the cover off your notebook. Yeah.
That's a marketing pitch if I ever heard one. Buy
Then
our
you'll have to buy a new one. Stupid kids.
Which I'm sure you can find another notebook somewhere else on dftba.com.
Whoa.
Wow. And
Yeah.
backpacks?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And
Brought it
backpacks.
back.
No backpacks.
No backpacks.
No.
Any
We're
hoodies?
flying too close to the sun now.
Yeah. There are lots of stuff.
You can buy what you can buy on the website. We won't
so many
speculate
things.
further.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Good.
if you just want to get
Tuna, what are you going to say?
if you just want to give us money without like a tangible reward and just
Put it in
digital
an
rewards,
envelope and send it to
well,
us.
yeah, you can put it in an envelope, or you can
Yeah.
just go to patreon.com/scishow and you can watch us on the live stream.
You brown noser.
Yeah.
Wow. You were very good. I should have given
Wow.
the sticker to you. Well, thanks for talking about bacteria with me, guys.
Thank you.
And thanks to Stefan for doing everything behind the scenes now, sound and camera. And thanks to whoever's going to be editing it, which is going to be one of you three, probably.
one of us, yeah.
One of you
Yeah.
2 or 3. I've been Ceri Riley,
I've been Sam Schultz.
I've been Tuna.
And I've been Jessi Knudsen Castañeda.
and this has been Holy Fucking Science.